We start with some Homelander looky-likey fella, straight up murdering a bird in the middle of a public bar for a Bitcoin wallet MacGuffin-y thing. And before you can say, no wonder misogyny and rape stats are on the rise and often go unreported and unprosecuted when nobody seems to give a fuck, even when it's practiced in broad daylight right in front of their face. Secret Service agent Manny Ruiz wakes up the stunning and brave first black female POTUS lady to say his dopey deputy agent Darden has only gone and let her teenage daughter sneak out of the White House somehow. And naturally, 17-year-old hacker whiz Serena gets totally bollocked for somehow sneaking out of the most secure fortified building in the country and thereby making a bunch of elite white blokes look like total muppets. And after getting some hand-to-hand combat training with Manny on the White House lawn, which I'm sure will come in handy later in the third act, the family all fly over to the G20 summit, which is this year being held in the notoriously violent and unstable country of South Africa. And before you can say, this'll end well, she has an intimate chat with Treasury Secretary and close mate Joanna Worth about just how far feminism has come in 100 years, given they can both now vote as women and men can enter their bathrooms if they wake up feeling a bit girly in the morning. Gah, what progress! Anyway, after sorting out security arrangements with the CIA director and her Veep, that misogynistic naughty murderer killer from earlier lands in Cape Town to aid security for the conference as a contractor. Cause turns out he's an Australian ex-military soldier turned private mercenary called Corporal Rutledge. And you can tell he's a wrong'un cause he's out here loudly chewing gum like he's auditioning to be the world's most annoying bovine. So once at the event, uber paranoid Special Agent Manny studies the blueprints of the place just in case any serious shit goes down. Whilst obnoxious teen Serena stops to have a small flirt with the handsome South African reception host before cheeky Joanna starts playfully hitting on the husband of the fucking POTUS right in front of her face for shits and giggles.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
And after the press harass her about the dodgy state of the economy and just hopes she ain't going to start fucking around with tariffs, Secret Service agent Darden starts doing some shady shit like locking down the place and letting off more noxious gas than my Uncle Dave after a spot of lunch at Taco Bell.
Fatality.
And before long, someone sets off a giant fuck-off bomb and totally starts shooting up the gaff. Cause in a shocking twist, what literally everyone saw coming. Well, except the characters who didn't see the opening scene with the chief security contractor of this event straight up killing some floozy in a bar for a crypto wallet, I guess. Turns out Corporal Rutledge is a naughty terrorist fella who's probably taking everyone hostage, including world leaders and random Asian ambassadors. Luckily though, Manny manages to get President Sutton the heck out of Dodge and into a secret safe room along with a few other delegates. And before you can say, see mum, it totally pays off to be paranoid as fuck, so please just tell my lame-ass therapist already, Daddy POTUS sends in his private security guy first to get deaded, so he can then go and save his kids himself.
My boy's wicked smart.
Meanwhile, Manny and his new gang of randoms soon get to know each other, including the First Lady of South Korea, the head of the International Monetary Fund, and of course, token white guy and cowardly UK Prime Minister. Because I guess the only Caucasians allowed in this film are killer mercenaries and cringy cuck boys. Anyway, after the British PM downplays and dismisses her previous limited military background and Iraqi war experiences, Sutton informs them all that they're all on their own, given it's clearly an inside job and their entire security team was intentionally off from within, so they've now got no choice but to trust their new mama-la and get down to the underground garage, hop into the president's jacked up military grade sedan and get the heck out of Dodge already. After Daddy POTUS and his sprogs flee the Mercs and escape into the next room, they find Rutledge is all over the TV, monologuing about his current ideology and naughty plans. Mainly some nonsense BS about mass investment in cryptocurrency, and then encouraging people to pull all their money out of banks to totally tank the market. And before you can say, well, if you want to tank the market, why don't you just whisper Bidenomics into the stock exchange and watch it spontaneously combust, the kids naturally want to get to their mummy to make sure she's okay. And also so she can calm the markets and presumably reassure them that their inheritance is still worth more than a Wetherspoons gift card. But hilariously, their dad is all like, screw that bitch, because we already talked about what we should do if this kind of thing ever happens, and she told me to get you kids out of Dodge and totally leave her old and busted ass out here to die. So shut up waffling on about crypto markets and wanting to go save and protect your female birthing parent, and follow me up to the roof and she. Elsewhere, Rutledge tries to get the Korean president to read an auto cue for the camera, and presumably also apologise for his country messing up season 2 of bloody Squid Game. But he totally refuses to read it, given it's a special script designed to be able to record their voice and mannerisms needed to make a phony fakey deepfake of world leaders, and probably gets his ear sliced off for his troubles. So the rest of them probably line up and start doing what they're told already. And the VP just can't believe the naughty terrorists would create phony fakey deepfakes of world leaders, casually admitting Alex Jones was right all along, and that they're indeed part of a deep state cabal who plan to create a one world currency to track and control the citizens of every country, and also create enough chaos to crash the currency markets and totally steal everyone's money. Or some shit. And unfortunately, it's totally working, and said crashing markets soon make naughty Rutledge richer and richer by the minute.
God damn.
Meanwhile, POTUS and Co.'s secret escape is totally thwarted after the clumsy UK PM knocks his funny bone on a passing ledge and almost gets them all shot up on top of a small elevator. So naturally, the stunning and brave chocolatey POTUS soon has no choice but to drop down and open a small-scale intimate can of whoop-ass on the mercs, and also save her own secret special agent from getting choked out like a little bitch. Once up on the roof, Serena and her bro just can't believe her dad wants to cuck out and hide away up here, so instead suggests hacking into some TV feeds what the mercs are using in order to disrupt and hijack the outgoing comms. Whilst back downstairs, the first female president proves exactly why women shouldn't be allowed anywhere near power when she comes down with a severe case of suicidal empathy and demands her personal bodyguard abandon his mission of getting her to safety to instead now go and save a handful of kitchen staff who are just sitting quietly and relatively peacefully by the TV. So now left with little choice, given refusing a direct order from his boss is technically seditious conspiracy due to the fact that she's the current sitting president of the United fucking States, he sets about needlessly risking his life to save a bunch of nobodies from two henchmen who are just happily sitting about watching TV. No! And after he's off fatally electrocuting one of them, Sutton somehow takes blistering blows from a brutish brute twice her size and finishes him off with a small saucepan.
Okay.
But before she can release the hostages, the guy goes and bloody wakes up and ends up making poor Manny take a bullet for them all. Meanwhile, back on the roof, poor Daddy POTUS is totally captured by the traitorous goon Agent Darden, but is luckily given the slip by the two kids. But also luckily, Serena's managed to get a message out to the VP and co, giving them a handy update about the current situation, and tells them all about how that naughty Darden fella helped a misogynistic crypto bro sabotage security from within, and take a bunch of hostages whilst giving a small Asian a Van Gogh treatment. And now that the news is saying that the world militaries are heading their way to fuck them all up, Rutledge decides it's time to start turning up the heat to totally smoke out the POTUS, given he needs her to complete his plan and record a special message so he can deepfake her and stuff. And for once, a man ain't trying to deepfake a girl just to put her image on mucky websites. Ah, silver linings, eh? Elsewhere, poor Manny is still feeling the karmic effects of deviating from his one mission and totally getting shot up for his troubles. But luckily, they run into two of the hostages, including the reception host from earlier who Serena tried to flirt with, who turn out to be undercover secret South African agents, and who are promptly tasked by Sutton to shut up waffling on about Chadwick Boseman's tragic passing and shouting Wakanda forever every few minutes, and bloody go save her damn family already. Anyway, they then make it down to the garage and jump into the Beastmobile. But before they can speed off, Daddy POTUS comes over the radio to tell her he's been totally caught and cucked and is now a daddy in distress, as Rutledge demands that she come see him already, now he's had to kill the Aussie Prime Minister and also done a hate crime on the Korean PM when he tried to be a hero and just got carved up like a common hog for his troubles. Oh, and just tells her that he sent some goons to hunt down her kiddies and shit. So naturally, she sends her injured Manny and her new mates off to get the heck out of Dodge. But also naturally, the poor fella wakes up and just can't believe she's packed him off to safety like some pussy old soy boy when he still has enough life force inside him to do his one job, so just jumps out of the ride to go save his bossy bae. Whilst over by the pool, the kids are almost snatched up by another naughty honky goon, but again luckily, they're saved in the nick of time by the Wakanda warriors, before Agent Darden is stopped from taking the president in by fast and furiously vengeful Manny. The gang then come up with a plan to distract the perimeter forces and drive the badass bulletproof beast tank straight out the fucking front door. Which they totally do, and promptly update the VP on Sutton's plan and totally request reinforcements to storm the building once young Serena unlocks the doors for him. Whilst over on the rooftops, the Wakandans get busy launching a secret rocket, what they pulled out their asses, to sneakily blow up Rutledge and force his army of private goons further inside. Sutton then drags a half-dead Manny to a fuse box and tells him to try to put off doing that dying thing, but at least till he can switch off the power just when she needs him to at the right time. Meanwhile, the poor Asian lady returns to the lobby and has a quick cry over the body of her have-a-go hero hubby, while sneakily pocketing a small knife just lying about, presumably to use just in the nick of time later in Act 3. Anyway, Sutton tells Manny to stop letting himself fade away into oblivion like some pussy old cuckboy and turn out the lights already, thereby allowing her to go full John Wick, despite having last picked up a gun 20 odd years ago in Iraq and what she barely even used at that, yet still of course retaining impeccable aim, and is somehow able to then get the better of yet another jacked up honky and totally kill him to death. Meanwhile, Serena and her bro make it to the server room, where she puts her lazy hacking skills to good use, to open the doors for the reinforcements of good guys, and also to tell her mum about how they may have a George Floyd situation on their hands, given that Australian white supremacist has currently brought a black man to his knees and totally put a knife to her daddy's throat.
Hate crime!
So Sutton promptly heads off to smack her bitch up, because only a stunning and brave femtard like herself gets to bring her cucked hubby to his knees, and usually mostly on date night.
What a fucking liberty!
So after finally confronting Rutledge and stupidly undermining his masculinity, he almost slices up the innocent first gentleman. So she gets on with reading his shitty script so he can get on with deepfaking her for CNN, and also for his followers on Pornhub, I presume. And meanwhile, the VP's forces breach the building and finally rescue the hostages. Now her phony fakey deepfake has hit the news, showing her bragging about being a member of Skull and Bones or some shit, and totally planning to shaft the American people just like every other president in recent history. Rutledge makes $150 billion in a matter of minutes. Unlike my bloody Pepe and Dogecoin accounts, which have just been going the other way for fucking weeks.
No, God! No, God, please, no! No!
Anyway, after the Aussie wet wipe winds on about his tragic backstory and how he's just jealous of her coming back from war to be president and he just came home broke in the wallet and broke in the brain, she triggers him with hurty words and just ends up getting a dopey hubby shot for his troubles. So she then goes full rage-tard and engages in fisticuffs with yet another strapping white bloke who's twice her size, just like her loyal Hispanic mentor taught her in the opening act. And after he's too busy to notice accidentally losing his precious crypto wallet whilst about to totally assassinate a literally sitting president for a second time since JFK, the vengeful old Asian bird stabs him up in the nick of time with her secret pocket knife and totally saves the day. Still don't make up for ruining Squid Game Season 2, but I guess it'll do for now, love. Luckily, turns out the overly dramatic Daddy Poters is just suffering from a flesh wound and is totally A-OK. And she just thanks him for not leaving her a single parent, despite having left her for dead for the whole damn day due to some vague agreement that they maybe possibly once discussed but probably never actually meant IRL. But after discovering Rutledge has escaped, Sutton realises her best buddy and horny hubby hounding feminist friend Joanna was the one what was working with him from the inside all along.
No way!
Yes way. Because turns out she was super jealous of her mate becoming the first female black president, when that was always her bloody dream, despite not being black or even mixed race. And after her son bursts in to tell her that nutty Aussie just kidnapped her other annoying kid, Sutton heads off to go save Serena from being trafficked away to God knows where. But luckily, she now has the crypto wallet McGuffin thing, and soon gets into a second round of fisticuffs before setting about freeing Serena, whose special hacker skills sure ain't gonna save her now. And after the clumsy Aussie drops the wallet down a giant fuck off cliff like a right Billy Butterfingers, he totally snaps and promptly makes them crash the chopper they were escaping in. And before you can say, oh god, not another friggin' American air crash, and this is exactly why you don't prioritise nor allow unqualified DEI hires in the cockpit, they get into a tussle and end up hanging over the abyss. And after he pulls out yet another gat and points it at her little kitty, she leaps up to block the shot and ends up taking them both over the edge. But because this is a stunning and brave movie where only whiteys can be baddies and also mostly die horrifically, she's soon revealed to have totally survived somehow, because reasons. And we end with the entire cavalry of military colleagues hauling the chopper back away from the edge, and totally applauding the heroic first black female prezi what spent the entire night shooting up the gaff and straight up murdered every white bloke who got in her way. Well, it is South Africa, so I guess it's kind of true to life to be fair. As a surviving Special Secret Service agent Manny proudly approves of how well she remembered their training sessions to kill off a bunch of crackers, as everyone continues to applaud the nation's beloved Mamala for stabilising the financial markets by telling everyone that the last video was totally a phony fakey deepfake, lol trust me bro, and that she totally ain't part of a secret deep state cabal that just spends every minute of every day defrauding the American people and abusing government powers, no matter what that autistic alien looking billionaire and his team of super young spotty scroats say to the contrary. And that's it, that's the movie. Though my favourite part was how they so shamelessly made a movie based on liberal fairy tale wish fulfillment, where a stunning and brave black female president unites the world and stabilises the markets, given the filmmakers clearly assumed that this would reflect the current political landscape IRL on release, and that black would inevitably be orange in the November elections last year. Because clearly, they ain't quite fans of certain shades of peeps, given the said female black president mows down a parade of white characters like it's a personal vendetta, and as if the director had a personal grudge against anyone with pale skin. And seriously, every single Caucasian here is a caricature of villainy. Either corrupt bureaucratic slimeballs, sadistic bloodthirsty killers, gutless cucked cowards, or generally just backstabbing soulless traitors, and all with zero depth or redemption. And meanwhile, the heroes? Exclusively black, Hispanic or Asian, who are all practically sainted and gliding through the carnage with unshakable virtue and plot armour. And by my reckoning, the only decent white guys here are the Vice President, though who's about as useful to the plot and action as a paperweight in a windstorm, and the Aussie PM, who spitefully gets a bullet to the dome and with all the dignity of a background extra. And so I guess Hollywood's message is clear. If you're a white fella, then you're either irredeemably evil or totally expendable. And that the industry's obsession with this narrative isn't actually about balance, it's about flipping the script so hard that it starts to read like revenge porn for the wokies. And the bitter cherry on top? This is Tinseltown's idea of diversity, simply trading one caricature for another. Because apparently, for these libtard writers who used to write the frigging cringe leftist Supergirl show on the CW, nuance is just too hard to script these days. But anyway, that's the plot and that's your lot. Considering that bell thing so you don't miss any future recaps. Tell me if you like this flick in the comments if you have time. And I'll kill a bunch of honkies whilst protecting ethnic minorities from crypto bro terrorists storming political world events with you in the next one.